the #1 source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. We're back in the studio after 12 days in Minnesota. That was wild. Brainerd, I hung out, I fought fires, I was on the radio, I did a television hit, I enjoyed the lake, I hung out on Gull, I did it all, but most importantly, I watched some of the best racing you are ever going to see. And on this show, we're going to hear from Pro Stock winner Greg Anderson, 111 wins. He's in the chat right now. We're going to bring him on seconds from now. And later in the show, Austin Prock, who is traveling back, and he said he's going to, as soon as he drops his bag, he's going to join us on WFO Radio, bottom of the hour or so. So you John Force Racing fans, let's share this show. Let's get everybody in position and warmed up as Austin joins the show. Jason Galvin, who called the action from the booth, will also join the show, and we are going to talk a lot about the things that are happening in the future, getting everybody hyped up about what's coming next. The Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals, Brittany Force with a couple more 340-mile-per-hour runs. Doug Coletta, another win. Max Savage, it wasn't like he predicted it on the show last week, but he definitely gave us a lot of education as to why that team is emerging. We're going to hear from our sponsors, of course. I'll tell you all about them. But right now, let's bring on the man who got the job done. He is the 6-time Pro Stock World Champion, 111 wins, and he's from his home state of Minnesota, where he did a great job, Mr. Greg Anderson. What's up, Greg? How are you?
Good afternoon, Joe. Did you really say you've been in Brainerd for 12 days?
The previous Wednesday, I went up for the double divisional race, and I lived in that Holiday Inn for 12
You're about a
days.
resident up there now. Wow.
I was. Well, it was funny because guys are coming in for the Mission Food Series race later on, and they're like, yeah, the guy at the desk, and I was like, oh, Roger. And like, yeah, well,
first name basis.
I was on a first name basis with everybody. I knew where to do laundry. I knew where to eat. I had all the experiences. I actually really liked it. You've got a great home state because of the people. They're an interesting breed up there.
People are great, Joe. It's a crazy place. People that haven't been there need to try it once. I'm damn proud that I grew up there. It's I don't know. It kind of set my life, I think, on the right path. You learned how to work hard up there. You can't sit still. You freeze to death. So I learned how to work hard, and the people are as nice as they come up there. So I think it was a great place to grow up, and I'd probably still be there, but it's a little hard to race 12 months a year in Minnesota, if you know what I mean.
Well, but that's the thing that makes you guys great. Jason Line, Warren and Kurt Johnson. It's not that there's nothing else to do, but the cold weather focuses your mind on what you want to do the most. No distractions. Here in South Florida, we've got all these distractions, right? Like, what should I be doing? Whereas up there, everybody is committed to their work, whatever they choose.
That's the fact. That is a fact. So it's, as I say, it was a great place to grow up, and kind of wish that I could have raised my kids up there. But as I say, you just can't raise 12 months a year up there unless it's on a snowmobile. So I had to move to the South, and a lot of great opportunities down here, and I certainly love it in North Carolina. Don't get me wrong. And I got soft. I don't like the winters up in Minnesota anymore, so I don't go back in the wintertime. But I'm certainly not ashamed of where I came from.
I agree. So you're saying that Cody is soft, and he could have benefited from a little bit tougher.
Could have been a little tougher, probably. Yeah.
Kid is an ace golfer, Greg. He would not have been an ace golfer
in Minnesota. I get it. I know.
He'd have been, even par at ice fishing, which is less sought after. Let's see. People love in Minnesota. Obviously, a lot of congratulations from your fans. The Yeti says congratulations. Everyone's saying congratulations. I want to talk about all of it, but what I want to do first is watch the final round together. You up for that?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it. We're going to watch the final round. You and Bruno at the end of it all. Greg Anderson puts the capper on the weekend by dominating. You won everything. Let's watch together. NHRA on Fox.
They roar off the starting line. Reaction times with 1,000th of a second. The 2 KB Titan stars hit the stripe, and it is Greg Anderson, 6:55.1 at 206 miles an hour, breaking Glenn's hammerlock over the course of this event. He had won it back-to-back. Greg wasn't going to let it happen 3 times straight.
Nothing like a little home cooking, especially if you're Greg Anderson. You come out here and absolutely dominate. You go low for eliminations, low ET. You break through the Mission Foods race, and you beat your teammate. And actually, you left on him by 1,000, Greg. It's almost rude how bad you're mean to him today. The performance that you stood up for today, as well as the car, what do you attribute that to?
Just an absolute perfect day, Bruno. Everything was perfect. We executed perfect, and I did not screw it up. If you can leave with Dallas, Glenn, you've done something right. So maybe he just spotted me a little. I don't know. But either way, I got the job done, and now we're going to Indy with damn near a dead tie. So whoever can come out of Indy the best is going to be the regular season champion. We both want that bad. So it's all good for Hendrick. It's all good for KB Titan. It's all good for Summit and Chevrolet. It's just been a great weekend up here in Brainerd. I love it up here. I don't know what to say. My wife says, you people up there are so damn nice. I've never seen nicer people in the world. And I said, you are right, honey. Yes, they are.
You need to head to the zoo.
I'm going.
Where are you going? Did you go? Is that true?
I had to get back from Minneapolis that night, but I acted like I was in the zoo down there. We didn't make it home till 3 in the morning. So yeah, we probably celebrated a little bit. Monday was a little rough, but we're back on the saddle now, back to work now, so it's all good. But
all right.
Yeah, that zoo's something else, Joe. Obviously, you've been there enough years. You spent 12 days up there. Probably got your fill of it. It's hard to explain to people. You just got to come see it.
Look at this car you rode in. This is
that
your
cool or what?
vehicle. I don't know.
It looks like my daily driver right there.
That is Christie's personal vehicle, but it was a dominant weekend, right? We did the Friday night battle for the Rebel Axe, Andy Ross and American Rebel Light Beer. They built us a throne of 100 cases. That's where I got the 100 cases in my head. A throne of 100 cases. You were last down and you took over the throne. You got the guitar. You snatched it out of Dallas's hands. He was like, hey, give me that thing. And you really won everything that there was to win over this course of the weekend. I want to go back to Sonoma, where you were in the similar situation until shaking the tires seriously in the semifinal, which allowed the Stanfield versus Stanfield final. Take me back to that run, because every once in a while, these things will bite you. And I think you were as close to crashing on that run as I've ever seen you, at least in the last 5 years.
Yeah, they will bite you. And if you don't think they will, stay tuned, because it can happen any day, any run. And that was an eye opener. And without a doubt, I can flash that back in my mind. I definitely thought I was hitting the wall for sure. I have no earthly idea how I didn't. Somebody stuck their hand in there and did the right thing with the steering wheel and throttle at the right time. But yeah, that should have been a wall scratcher. And if nothing else, we would have had a little body work to do this week. But dodged that bullet. And then we ran right from there to the Norwalk Night of Fire and had a blast there and got to work on our track setup to run right behind fuel cars. That seems to change the game a little bit for us when we go right behind the fuel cars. And we needed to work on that setup, as you saw in Sonoma. That's what got us there. So it was a great weekend at Norwalk. We got a few runs to practice at it, probably learned a little bit, and it set us up for the Brainerd race. So had a great weekend. Right from the start, got every crumb they had to offer. The Axe American Rebel Light Award on Friday night. That was cool. The Too Fast, Too Tasty Mission Award on Saturday, and then the Lucas Oil race on Sunday. So, I don't know of anything else that was there for the getting. We got it all. So that was a great weekend, and for me, certainly a great place to do that. That's where everything started for me, Joe. That's where I cut my teeth in racing, both as a crew guy and when I finally got to drive there, it was a cool experience. And I tell everybody it's great going back, but when I go back, I've got all my buddies and friends that I grew up in high school with that, like, don't screw it up this year like you did last year. So they're tough on me. They make it real, and when you go up there, you just don't want to look like a fool. So I did last year, and this year we made up for that.
Well, and that was kind of an interesting storyline, something that I hadn't thought about, but I'm sure you had, that it had been a while since you had won in Brainerd, much longer than I had thought. I think it was 2014 or something way back. Kind of shocking. We did have a pandemic and a bunch of time off from going to the race, but it just kind of shows the momentum is building once again with you, that this is a team and even a driver, 25 in the final, that is getting more powerful as you go along.
Yeah, and you're going to have to, Joe. We're getting down. We're one race away from playoffs, so you say it every year. You have to peak at the right time, and obviously we've had a fantastic start to the year. And we just hope and pray we haven't peaked yet. We hope we're getting better, and I think we showed at Brainerd we might have another gear yet we can pop it into. Hopefully going into the playoffs. So that was a good feeling, and now we're coming up on a big race for me. I love Indy. I love that race more than any other, and it's bigger than everything. It means more than everything, and I want to perform the best we have all year there. So hopefully we keep progressing and get better by then and roll into the playoffs, basically peaking and riding the top of that wave.
You mentioned the regular season championship. I think it's 50 grand for pro stock. Nice chunk of change right there. You and Dallas within 9 points of one another. Hartford third, 431 back. It shows the kind of season that the two KB house cars have had. But it also shows that it's not going to be easy. Like you got to outrun Dallas. Like you said, whoever goes farther at the points and a half U.S. Nationals is going to be the regular season champion. And then we reset. But talk a little bit about that extra carrot being out there, 50 grand for the pro stockers.
Oh, we absolutely, when they announced at the beginning of the year, Joe, that brought smiles to our faces, and I think it made us really dig down and work hard and focus on that. We wanted to be the regular season champ. Dallas Glenn's been the regular season champ the last couple of years and got nothing for it at the end of the year. So I almost think they did it for Dallas, finally throw him a bone. And now he's competing for it again for the third or fourth year in a row to try to be the regular season champion. But the good news is there's a carrot at the end of the line this year. There's big money on the line, and we have been planning this all year. We've been trying as hard as we can to win the regular season crown. So it's going to come down to Dallas and I. Nobody else can take that regular season crown from us. But the good news is it's going to go back to KB Titan, which is the important part. But don't get me wrong, Joe, when Dallas stages against Greg Anderson or Greg Anderson stages against Dallas Glenn, the gloves come off, buddy. We each want to win bad. So it matters to us. But the good news, the better news yet, is it all comes back here to KB Titan, and it helps us make this program even better.
The U.S. Nationals is its own one-off experience. Everybody wants to win it. It changes careers, changes the way we refer to people. And you're going after another one. You've got the car to beat, but others are emerging now. The way the season is laid out, Erica had her 3 best reaction times of the entire season this weekend, kind of swapping cars around. And all of a sudden, she's looking quicker. Others are looking quicker. They've all been working to get to this point where they can show their stuff. Some might say something good about the playoff system, the last 7 races being more significant. Some might say it's bad, but it is what it is. So you almost don't even know what's coming at you now because everybody has been saving or working on their best stuff to this point.
Yeah, no doubt. And I've told everybody time after time, don't be ridiculous. They're going to be there come playoff time. And they've gained and they've made steady gains. And they're absolutely now capable of winning races. They proved that at Sonoma. They proved it again this weekend at Brainerd. If we didn't have a flawless day, Dallas and I on Sunday, they would have won. We would have lost. Erica Enders or Aaron Stanfield would have won that event, and it would have been 2 in a row for them. So we certainly know they're there. They're back. They're ready to rumble in the playoffs. We reset points to basically nothing, so it's going to be anybody's game again. So that's pro stock, Joe. Nobody will ever lay down and quit. Nobody ever, rolls over, plays dead like a dog. And that's why I love pro stock. The competition just gets tougher every week. So I love it. I love that fact that you got to find something special each race you go to. It doesn't really matter what you did the last race. You better find something better when you get to the next race or you'll lose. So love going to Indy and love what's coming up after that. It's an exciting time of the year for us.
All right, let's dig down a little deeper. I mean, I think when you go to the mainstream sports world, you think about the Patriots. They had a perfect season. They lost the Super Bowl. If you went back and asked them, like, how would you rate that season? They would say it was a terrible failure. And it's sad that we have to do that, but it's just kind of the way it is. So last year you came from behind and some said, stole the championship in the playoffs. And you really did. You went into the final race third. It's fair to say that. You were not the pick to win it, but you won it. This year is going to be different. You are definitely the favorite. You and Dallas, co-favorites, but you're the reigning champ. You're Greg Anderson. You're the favorite. And if you don't win the championship, some will say, oh man, that season, it was a great season, but they blew it on the championship. How do you avoid those thoughts? How do you handle managing all of that? Like what lies ahead, and we are supposed to win this.
Well, it's real, Joe, but nobody's going to hand it to you. Nobody's going to lay down and play dead. It's going to be a battle. You're going to have to earn it. Do I think we can earn it? Yeah, I do. But until you go do it, you haven't done anything. So can we lose? Absolutely, positively. Can we lose? Can we win? Absolutely, positively. That's the good news is we've got great race cars, fantastic race cars, have all year, and I expect they'll get even better in the playoffs. So we'll have a great opportunity, and it'll come down to the drivers, and not just Dallas and I. We've got a whole fleet of them here under the KB Titan banner that can step forward and win races. And obviously there's a big group from across the country there that can step forward and win races. So I can't handicap it. You can call us the favorite because we've had a great track record this year, but that last race just doesn't really get you anything, Joe. It's wonderful that you can win, but you gotta move forward. You gotta realize you're going to have to find something better for the next race, or the competition will pass you by. That's just the way it is in pro stock. So reality is anybody can still win, and you better find a way to be flawless or you won't win.
Amazing. Monica saying congratulations on the win. A lot of people excited about what's happening out there. Dr. Brian Fleck going to be on Hidden Horsepower with us later this week. I'm excited about this. Background in motorcycles. Didn't know that, right? Just doing a little pre-education. He came over from Hendrick Motorsports. You called him the good luck charm. Give me a little note or two to hit him with as best as you can when we do an interview with him on Hidden Horsepower, something that I couldn't possibly know. As best as you can.
Obviously he's a cool guy. Probably the whole race world hasn't met him yet, but people have certainly noticed him. He's been a big help to this operation over here. He's obviously a sharp individual, but he also has fun. He has a blast. He loves, going to the races and talking with people and hanging out with people and having a beer with people and being on that starting line and being as involved as he can be. He's not your normal engineer that sits behind a desk in front of his computer all day long and never gets up and doesn't really, see the outside or the real world, however us bare knuckle guys have to handle the world. He loves to dig in. Anytime we got to change an engine or do anything on the race car, he digs in just like a general mechanic. So he's cool. He's great. He's certainly been fantastic for KB Titan here. And I want to tune in to hear that because I want to learn a little bit more about the guy, because I guarantee there's still secrets that I don't know about him. And he's an interesting dude. And we had quite the conversation till 3 a.m. the other night after the Brainerd win, and learn a few more things about him. So I'm going to tune in and listen to what you can pepper him with and what I can learn out of that. But everybody's going to learn that he's a pretty cool dude.
Well, everybody, I think, now has got to subscribe to Hidden Horsepower, the Total Seal podcast. Speaking of swinging engines, Dallas, right before the final, that was I heard about it after it was all over, but Dallas is like, hey, not bad for the engine was out of the car 20 minutes ago. What was up with that?
Yeah, well, that was the scary part. So, we come back from the run and didn't know anything was wrong and noticed the engine wasn't turning over smoothly. So we started to do a little diagnostic test and learned that we had a cylinder leak in 30%. So figured, well, we got 25 minutes left. I don't know if we have time to change an engine, but I hate to bring it back up there and blow the engine up. It's obviously been a great engine for Dallas. So we took a shot at changing the engine and thought, well, maybe we'll get a rain delay or something and we'll get time. But as it turned out, we ended up going after the fuel car instead of before him, and we got just enough time to get it done and threw it in there. And yeah, that just shows you the great depth we have on the bench in engines. We had to change engines twice, I think, in Matt Hartford's car, and we're able to put something in just as good as we had, and same with Dallas in the final round. That's it's great to have backup. It's great to have a bench to dig onto because once in a while you need it. And we proved that we can do that. So it all worked out fine. And as it turned out, the crazy way it turned out, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but somehow my reaction time said I had a better light than Dallas. I don't know. Probably if you went back and looked at video, you'd probably argue that and something was a fluke, but that's what the sheet said. That's what the scoreboard said. And it wasn't going to matter, what happened there with Dallas over there. We kind of locked him out in the final there. So it was a good one. And the bad news with that is it'll certainly aggravate him and he'll want blood when we get to Indy. So he won't forget. He's something else, man. He's a win waiting to happen every time he goes down the racetrack, and he's a tough competitor to get around. I obviously fight as hard as we can to get around everybody, and all the elite group is definitely resurgent, and anyone can beat you now. And if you find a way to wade your way through that minefield, it always seems to be Dallas Glenn waiting in the final, and then you're like, how do I get around him? But it happened, and maybe it's one in a row, but it is one in a row, and we're the winner this weekend, and I get to hold my hat high.
I like it. No, I think you needed Dallas. I think you needed Dallas, this young guy who's generally a very positive energy. I think everybody likes Dallas. Erica throws
Dallas has never had a bad day, Joe. I've never seen him have a bad day.
Never.
He drives that race car, drives the wheels off it, and then an hour later he's in that semi driving the truck down the road, and never complains, never absolutely always smiles, excited about the opportunity he's got, and makes the most of it every time he does.
Well, exactly. It's going to be interesting to watch. Greg, thank you for making the time here on WFO Radio. Congratulations, winning Brainerd, your hometown race. And everyone was buzzing about it. And now we're on to Indy. Just like that. The U.S. Nationals, at Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals are next. Then the playoffs. That's why I call Brainerd the last race where anyone can have fun, because everything else is intense.
That's true. Tension definitely gets ratcheted up a little bit, but we love that, Joe. I love Indy, and I love what's after that. So things will change a bit through Indy. It's points and a half. Everybody remember that. So as things sit right now, Dallas and I are battling it out for number one, but all those positions behind us, they can change. And, those 10 points per position are going to mean a lot going through the playoffs.
Absolutely. And we're going to study that later on in the show next week. Greg, thank you very much for joining us on WFO Radio. Congratulations on the win. And we'll see you in a couple weeks in Indy.
Thank you again, Joe. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate it. There goes Greg Anderson with us here on WFO Radio. What Greg just said about the point standings is pretty crazy, because look at Derek Kramer. Derek Kramer is 699 points out of the lead, but it's points and a half. So Jeg Coughlin is 7th. Kramer is 10th. Jeg Coughlin is 7th. You follow me? So it's very possible that Derek Kramer, if he had a great U.S. Nationals, could leapfrog Jeg. I think that's about as far as he can get, 69 points or so. If he, ran Jeg first round, beat Jeg, and then went on to win the race, Kramer could leapfrog Jeg. And so in the grand scheme of pre-countdown points, he's still going to be 7th. But that puts him that much closer to number one after the reset. That's an additional 40 points after the reset. So everyone is going to be fighting and clawing at the back of the field to make it happen. All right. Drop your comments in the comment section, guys. Let's see what you all have to say. I am super excited about it. We're hopefully going to have Austin Prock at the bottom of the hour. We're kind of taking a flyer. He is traveling, but we're going to have Austin. All right. Let's see. Gareth Senkow. We did an attention in the pits on Gareth's 64 Plymouth from Brainerd, and he reveals it's got a Keith Black Hemi under the hood. What an amazing thing that happened. He's listening from Rock Falls Raceway. What's up, Gareth? Good to see you. Mike Cage says, great question. Of course, Greg Anderson is a class act. Greg has always come on WFO, I think, every one of his wins. I wouldn't say 111 of them, but certainly the last 30 he's been on. 111 wins. Wild. Do you ever hear from WJ? I was going to go down that road. Congrats, Greg. Heck of a weekend. Dino says, what's up? Shout out. Wesley says it's harder to be chased. It's an interesting debate. Is it harder to be chased? There are expectations. The expectations game is real. And I was just watching a documentary on the 1998 New York Yankees. It was really part of the Derek Jeter, the captain documentary. Now, if you're not a Yankee fan, don't worry. This isn't going to be an example of me beating on my chest for the New York Yankees, because honestly, we're down at this moment. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say what I learned from the documentary. In 1998, the Yankees won 114 games in the regular season, something crazy, arguably the greatest single season team of all time. Baseball experts can do that. But when they talked to them, they all said that put intense extra pressure upon them due to the expectations of their fans, of the city of New York, of themselves. We've come this far, but now it means nothing. And isn't that exactly the same as what the countdown does? And for all the people that, and we don't talk about it very much anymore because it's a moot point. It's almost a wasted discussion. The countdown versus non-countdown. No, you have a playoff system for exactly this reason. Those Yankees were able to start again, although they stumbled out of the gate. They lost the game. And people were all of a sudden thinking, oh my goodness, this could go south. They could lose. Same thing with Greg Anderson. You go to Reading, first round, the $10 part bites you. Whoever's second, Dallas, or third, whoever it is, Hartford, goes on to win the race. Suddenly you're fighting from behind. And then all the doubt and all the worry about, oh my goodness, was this entire season of greatness for nothing? Same deal for Austin Prock. Top Fuel, no one really has that situation. But I love that. I think it's a great storyline. So much better than, yeah, we had an awesome May. Our May in 2025 was so great. Everybody else had a terrible May. We had a great May, and we're going to win the championship because we beat everybody in May. Everybody being at their best at the same time with these known storylines, these known pressures that come with being in the playoffs that people can understand. A non-racing fan can understand. I think it's great. Look, Walt says, let's go, WFO. What's up, Walt? That's very cool. Appreciate you. I watched the track prep video. Randy, you guys are absolutely correct. I learned so much. Yes. Track prep. Kurt Johnson. I haven't seen this one. New YouTube video. Kurt Johnson track prep. Very informative. A little more than an hour long. A must watch. Thank you, Randy, for that. Kurt's a friend. And I, every once in a while, just kind of go over and talk to the guy. Like, yeah, so what do you know? All right, we're waiting on Austin Prock. Austin Prock is scheduled to connect in a few minutes. What we're going to do is take a quick break, and we'll hopefully be back just in time for Austin. But right now, I want to tell you about our friends at HusseyPerformance.net. David Allen and the team, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. And he stopped giving his cell phone number. He's given the shop number now. But they've got contingency programs in NHRA for top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car. How about those killer bees, huh? Top dragster, top sportsman. And in the PDRA for top sportsman and top dragster. But they are not just copper head gaskets anymore. Valve cover gaskets, oil pan gaskets, header gaskets. Just like their head gaskets, they make any design. They do custom oil pans. They do it all extremely tight tolerances, and they do them very quickly. They can get it shipped out immediately. 412-716-4872. That is HusseyPerformance.net. They are doing a great job, and we appreciate them being on board with WFO Radio. Also, want to remind everybody, the folks at SoCal Hot Sauce are on board with WFO Radio, and we've got our own promo code, our own link. It is in the chat. I dropped it in the chat. It's SoCalHotSauce.com/WFO. But right now, only right now, it will expire very soon. Spicy30, it's automatic promo code. You save 30%. I think that's a good spiff to try it out one time. So the link is in the chat. It's SoCalHotSauce.com/WFO. And you go to checkout, Spicy30 is automatically applied, and you save 30%. So if you like the hot sauce, their guac hot sauce is great. They've got a lot of good stuff. I've tried most of them. I was going to try to bring one back this weekend, but I didn't want to check a bag. So I'm going to go on there right after the show and order using the Spicy30, saving 30%. My goodness, why would you not do such a thing? But our friends at SoCal Hot Sauce on board, appreciate them. Also, want to remind everybody, PowerTube TV, a great place to watch WFO Radio, this show right here. And if you're watching on PowerTube TV, reach out. Send us an email, joe@WFOradio.com. We want to hear from our PowerTube audience. Bruno's on there. He's the host of Pink's. All kinds of good stuff going on there. But PowerTube TV, they've got their app for Apple out, and it is great stuff. So I really appreciate the guys at PowerTube TV showing WFO Radio to their audience, thousands and thousands of new people each week. All right, we're going to have Austin Prock. He's signing on now. I see him down there. He's going to join us right after this.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
I'm Steve Torrance, four-time NHRA Top Fuel World Champion. And when me and these Capco boys win races, we go straight WFO.
And I'm excited to see Steve, hopefully back at the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals. Speaking of Cornwell Tools, let's bring on the Cornwell Tools driver, Mr. Austin Prock. Austin, welcome back to WFO. Looks like your travel all worked out.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Always happy to be on here. And yeah, everything went smooth. Ended up getting out of there last night. Our test session got canceled, and we're hoping that we can make some runs tomorrow here in Indy.
Okay, so you were going to test. You win the race, really strong performance, and you guys had a test day scheduled as you get ready for the playoffs. That tells me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been trying to test this hot rod all year long, and every time we go and try and test, it seems like the test session gets canceled or Mother Nature just won't play in our favor. So that happened again yesterday, and we spent a lot of time at the racetrack Sunday night. You go win the race, and then you got to service 4 rounds worth of stuff. We were there till about midnight working, and you get right back up at 6 a.m. and go out there, and we sat in the rain for a few hours. So ended up packing up. The boys hit the road this morning. They should be here about 5 o'clock. We'll go out there, set the pit up, and hopefully make 4 or 5 runs tomorrow.
Wow, that is well, that's why you're having success, because of that ethic. That's not that other teams don't have the ethic, but the bar is being set by what you guys do as the current champion, as the points leader. We'll talk about the Cornwell Tools U.S. Nationals, but I want to focus in on this race win. This was tremendous. You up for watching the NHRA on Fox coverage of the final round with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's watch Brian, Tony, and Bruno as Austin Prock wins Brainerd against J.R. Todd. Here we go.
And they have showed us, at least to this point, they can stand in the ring with a champ. A tire smoking launch for J.R. Todd means Austin Prock, karting a 390 at 321.5 miles an hour, is yet again a winner on the tour. You can see the dog pile in the starting line.
Austin Prock is your funny car champion here at the Lucas Oil Nationals, and his driving has really been on point all day long. He's had a look of the eye of the tiger in his eyes. Look, it's still there right there. You can see the adrenaline pumping. 43 on the reaction time. We're in the final. Your average reaction time in a funny car today was 47 over 4 rounds. How do you account for that sort of determination and focus?
Jordan Vandergriff, he told me I was tied for best reaction time when he was at my house last week, and I ain't having that, so I had to come out and play today. They gave me a great race car underneath me, and I didn't need those lights to win today. This Prock rocket was flying. So happy to fly these Cornwell Tools colors with HendrickCars.com. Chevrolet, I mean, this is a big win here. A bunch of my guys are from Minnesota. Nate Hildahl has never won here, and this is going home with him. Wow! Yeah! Let's go, Nate!
That's awesome. That is awesome right there. But watching yourself now 48 hours later, you were amped. I have not seen you that amped ever before. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I don't know. I woke up that morning and I had a wild hair up my ass. I don't know what got into me, but I had a point to prove to myself. I haven't been driving as well as I did last year at consistently. I feel like my spread has been really good, tight window of reaction times, try and keep it, within a few thousandths of a second, but I just haven't been as quick as I wanted to be, and I've been working hard at that, trying to get that quickness back. And I felt like through qualifying, I did a really good job. I was 62, 64, 67, 68 over 2 days, and I was happy with that spread, but I wanted to be about 100 quicker. And I felt like I kind of found something within me that maybe I was doing wrong, and a little bit of help from some people, and I got it all together on Sunday. So I hope I can keep that effort up. If this Prock rocket, if it runs like it does, and I can be 40 or 50 on the tree every time I get in that thing, we're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It becomes a math problem.
Yeah,
for
the package. the package, Joe.
The package, right? If you're 45 and running, let's say 89, that's hard to beat.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like running 87. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy on that. All right. So you were the number 2 qualifier. Number 1 qualifier was Jack, your teammate, but you got around Jim Campbell. They kept you honest, huh? 402 first round, only 286. You left first by a lot, 48, but that team over there, they get up for you guys.
Yeah, I think Big Jim, he likes kicking our ass. He always seems to put his best run together of the weekend when he does race us, and he's actually got the winningest record against us this year. I think he's beat us the most out of any car, him and Buddy Hull. So it felt good to get around that. Obviously, you turned that first round win light on, ran a really respectable ET, and had a great light to go with it. So it was a hell of a way to kick off the day. And after that, I was just hoping I could stay in that window. It seems like, you look back at the stats and kind of what I start out the day with, whether it's in qualifying or on race day, I'm usually right in that zone right there. So at the end of the day, when they told me I had an average of 47 reaction time, I was really proud of that, because, it's one thing to go up there and cut one great light like that, but to keep that window, that spread that I always talk about, felt really good at that quick of a reaction time.
Yeah. Now to qualify it or clarify it. So you said Jordan Vandergriff was the reason he told you he was tied. I want to talk about Jordan a little bit later because he did a great job coming back and we want him involved. But we saw on social media, those who follow, you guys were hanging out because he was racing. You guys spent a lot of time together and he somehow revealed stats that you were not aware of as he was doing NHRA on Fox research. Like how did that happen?
Yeah, we were, every time Jordan comes into town, my house is always open to him. He's a great friend of mine. And, we've done a lot together over the years in drag racing and, we've become great friends. So, it was nice to have him back in Indy. I hope that he can be here more, get another opportunity to race these cars and, spend some more time with him. But, we always, I have him over, I cook him dinner and we'll just chill out back and just BS. And, I don't know how it got brought up, but he started looking up the stats, just stuff that he's got on hand from Fox and, the best average elapsed time, the most success rate going down the racetrack. And then we got into whole shots and reaction times. I stay out of all that stuff. I just try and stay in my lane and do what I can. But he spouted off that my average reaction time was 67 and I was tied for first. And as soon as he said that, like, I got pissed off. Like, he's like, dude, did that aggravate you? And I'm like, yeah, it really did. And like, we were getting ready to go to bed too. And I'm like, you got me all spooled up now. And now I'm going to have to go lay down and stew on this, So, I wanted to go out there. I want to be the best in the class. I feel like this race car is the top of the class. It's the most competitive race car in the class. And I want my part of the job to be equal to that. And, I went out there and drove my ass off. I was exhausted after Sunday. I don't know if I've ever put that much like mental, like stress into it. I don't even know how to explain it, but my whole body was just beat after the end of that day. And I guess that's what it's going to take to perform like that.
Yeah. Now was he mocking you? Like, you don't have the best, or was he just,
no, I mean, he was just
like friends might do.
Yeah, he was just stating the stats. I wasn't aggravated with him or he wasn't busting my balls or anything. It aggravated me. Like I said, I want to be the best in the class. My dad's the same way. He's got that same mindset. After the last 2 rounds in Brainerd, he was pissed. It didn't run what it should have in the semis, and it definitely, we were not trying to go up there and run 90 in the final. We got lucky there that they blew them off. And but that's why I feel like one of the reasons we're successful is it's never good enough. You always want to be better and you always got to push to be better. And, we've been doing a good job of that.
So you run Hagen second round, and this is one that I find to be interesting. You're 48, he's 40, he runs 409, blowing it up. You're 88, 6, 332, but that crazy stat, but he's beating you on Saturday a bunch. You guys have run on Saturday with the Mission Food stuff. That's like a normal deal. But on Sunday, he's never beaten you guys. And to me, it's like standing at the roulette wheel, and just one color keeps coming up again and again and again. And it's not supposed to come up again, but it does come up again. But at some point, the math becomes weird and overwhelming, right? Like right as we go to the U.S. Nationals, right as we come to the playoffs, is that something you think about? Like, man, these dudes are going to beat us eventually. Like, it's got to happen.
Yeah, you can think like that, or you can think they don't have to beat us. That number can keep hitting on that roulette deal. I've said that earlier this year. Like, their day's going to come, but shit, I hope it doesn't. That's a great team over there, and they're going to be one of the cars that we're going to have to continuously beat to win this championship. They're making their strides at the right time, and that whole team, Stretch and Phil Billy and Matt, Alex Conway, that whole team, they're great competitors, and they're doing an outstanding job with that race car. There a lot of respect out of our camp to those guys, and their day will come. I hope it doesn't, because that thing's really clicking right now, and Matt's driving the wheels off of it. He gets up on the wheel when he races me, even in qualifying. Q1 we had to race each other. We haven't raced each other in Q1 in a while, and I went up there and I'm like, I want to leave on this dude, and he was feeling the same way, and we ended up having an identical reaction times Q1, which was pretty funny. But yeah, they're doing a great job, and that thing was trucking second round. Our car rattled leaving. It hasn't really done that very often. That place was weird for us. We had to really work for that win on Sunday, but it rattled leaving and kind of got up on top of the racetrack and moved me towards the wall, and I was fighting it, and I heard him out there for a second, and then I'm getting near the wall and getting close to the finish line. Definitely had my hands full. I was glad to have that win light come on, but that thing was flying. He might have been in maybe one, if that, but it was running hard through the middle before it blew up. That was gonna be a tight race.
It was wild, a wild race. But these are the way stories get set up. The stories of the playoffs, the stories that we follow, the things that happen on the road. Wesley says, congratulations. He says you were on kill mode. Mike Cage says you were amped up on Monster Energy. But everybody acknowledged that you were kind of in a different zone. Now that you've been there, do you know how to get back there? Is that some place that now that you've been there and you were there, like you can channel that? Can that become normal?
That's one of the hardest parts about driving these race cars, is finding that niche, that zone that you need to be in to be on kill like that. And it's really hard you can't create it. It has to come within you. And and some days it just does, and I was definitely glad I got that on Sunday. You can't push yourself to recreate something like that. But I hope the steps that I took, will continue that performance, from a mental side of things. I was really hoping I could run on Monday, just to see if I still got it, go up there T1 and see if I could chop the tree down again. But I feel like I'm in a good space. A lot of this is confidence based, leaving the starting line. You've got to be able to go up there and attack, and you got to believe in yourself and kind of be on edge, or in kill mode, like that fan said. So we'll see. I drove like that a lot last year. Not quite that good, but definitely had a lot of 50 lights, low 50 lights. So I'm just trying to get back there. I know how tight this countdown is going to be. Matt Hagan's running really good. JR Todd's car's coming around. Beckman's obviously always quick. So I think those are going to be the four hitters, including ourselves, on who's going to take the big check home at the end of the year.
You better say Caps, or they're going to get all motivated.
Yeah, no, Caps' car's running good, but yeah, throw Caps in there. Thanks,
all right, do that. So you beat Chad Green in the semis. They didn't get down the racetrack, and then you set up that battle against JR, which I agree. They are emerging at the right time, and that's what's cool about the countdown, is that they've had this season to gel, and now hopefully they've planned the final 7 races, including Indy, and will be at their best, and everyone will be taking shots. Now, this guy, C5 Pete, says he won the drag race bracket bonanza because of you. I don't believe him, though, because I'm sure everybody picked you. I'm sure you were very well picked, and if not, there's a problem.
Yeah, I think I had me and Beckman were tied for 39% of the votes for winning. So, yeah, I guess a lot of people picked us. But
you follow that? You're aware of that off the top of your head?
Yeah, they tag me in all their posts and I repost them most of the time. So I like looking at it, just seeing, what people think. And, a lot of people have been picking us for a reason lately.
I agree. We now have our own promo code, guys, for the league, the WFO league. All you gotta do is type WFO radio and you can get in the WFO league. It's real easy now. They've made it easy. Point standings, 242 up on Beckman. All right. So, I don't know what the math is. I know there was some discussion about if you cross the center line and oil the track every time down the racetrack at Indy, then you might, but dude, come on, regular season champ, 150 grand. You got to show up. I wish you luck getting to the track, but that's a pretty cool accomplishment historically.
Yeah, for sure. It's very reminiscent of last year in Pomona. We had it locked up in Vegas and had to go there and kind of, contain our excitement all the way through the end of qualifying because mathematically, if the world ended, we weren't going to be world champs. So, we got a job to do to go in there. Obviously that's great. That's a huge lead again going into the playoffs, similar to what we had last year. So definitely makes us feel good, but we still got the job's not finished. We still got a lot of work to do. We want to go win the U.S. Nationals. There's a lot of money on the line next week. I think it's over 300 grand if you count everything up between the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty, the call out, the race, and then obviously the regular season championship. And at John Force Racing, we want to take all that cash home.
That is going to be wild. I'm so excited about Indy, the new tower, just getting ready for the 75th season. Let me ask you, I got a little heat the other day. I said something. My job is hyperbole, right? I want to get people excited. I want to say big things. And then if they happen, it's even better. But my observation was that I think you are putting the effort in to try to be the greatest driver ever. And someone said, John Force is the greatest driver ever. I was like, yes, I understand. But John Force is an anomaly. Don Garlits is an anomaly. You are taking this whole thing, big picture, seriously. Like every opportunity to work, to put in the test runs, testing on Monday. Like I think you're thinking big picture about yourself, Austin Prock, in the history of drag racing. And why wouldn't you? Your grandfather is part of it. Your dad is part of it. But I would like you to tell me, maybe I'm totally wrong and you're just living in the moment every second of the day. Or maybe you are thinking about yourself in historical context and you want to prove that you are as great as any of the greatest greats.
I do live in the moment a lot. I put one foot in front of the other and just try and work as hard as I can to be the best that I can be. And, if that's good enough one day to land me in the history books, that would be amazing, but that saying or term that you're tossing around of, trying to be the greatest, it's not the first time I've heard it this year from other people. Our competitors, Spencer Hyde mentioned it in Sonoma, and the fans see it. But yeah, I do want to be one of the best funny car drivers ever to do it. John Force he believed in me. He's given me a great opportunity, and I got the greatest teachers in the world to try and do that. So like I said, it aggravated me that I wasn't the quickest off the starting line last week. On average reaction time, I want to be the best in the category in all aspects, whether it's leaving the starting line, keeping it straight, pedaling the race car. I don't want to get beat anyway. And I want to do a great job for our partners. And I've got a great opportunity in front of me, a 3-year contract with Cornwell Tools. I'm racing for John Force Racing, Peak, Monster, Mr. H with HendrickCars.com. You got all these great people backing you. And then on top of it, I get to race with my family. My dad and brother and Nate Hildahl are turning the knobs on this thing. And I just want to be successful. I think about that every day. And like I've said the last few times in the media center, I like getting paid. The more I win, the more money I make. And, having the trophy, putting your names in the accolades like that, and then getting paid on top of it to do what you love, live out your dream. Life can't get any better than that. And I'm really hungry right now.
That's awesome. No, that's exactly. I see it. I think we all see it. And it's great to have an athlete out there, not saying others are not doing that. They are, but you're right in the middle of your emergence, chance to go back to back. You mentioned Cornwell Tools, U.S. Nationals, their sponsor, like they're on the radar in a big way. I think you're a big part of it. All right, one final question. Connor Zilich in the Xfinity Series had an unbelievable moment a couple of weeks ago. And so when you're getting out of your funny car, getting on the roof, I couldn't help but think of that. Like, oh man, come on, Austin, don't do this. But you handled it. You handled it just fine. Looked like you took a little extra moment though to get your balance.
Bro, that was the only thing that went through my mind. I got up there and lost my footing, and I'm like, don't crash like that kid did. Yeah, I like blacked out for a second. I was like, oh, yeah, you're just amped up. Your adrenaline's going, and the hood of that Chevrolet, it's not the flattest. It's got a lot of shape to it, and kind of got to get your feet in there, kind of pigeon-toed, and it took me a second to get up there, but yeah, I was glad I didn't wad it up. I don't want to scratch that nice helmet I got. I spent a lot of time painting that thing.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad what my observation was accurate.
Yeah, like you nailed it. Yeah. I think everybody saw it.
But I'm the guy who brings it up.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Austin, great job. Thank you very much for making the time. I know you zoomed in right from the airport, came onto the air with us. I really appreciate it. You've been on for all the wins this year, so let's keep it going. Good luck, whatever comes ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Always love talking to you, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Sounds good. There he goes. Austin Prock with us here on WFO Radio. The intensity. You saw it in the interview with Bruno. You saw it. You could feel it. They are in the middle of something special. They know it, and he's looking to make the most out of every opportunity. We're going to get a little understanding, and we'll do a recap with Jason Galvin, who will be joining us next. He called the race, and we're going to do that right after this.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
That is right. We are back, and I want to tell you guys about our great friend Marvin Rodak at Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. Marvin is down there in Fort Worth, Texas. He does, grills, tools, tips, information there in Fort Worth. You got a showroom that's really cool. You could go by. He'll roast the coffee right there for you. But as we get ready for the stampede of speed, and our race teams are heading that way, if you want to load up on pounds of coffee and avoid all that shipping cost, connect with Marvin, 817-924-6821, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. All right. He was out there calling the action. He just saw Austin give his take. So let's bring him on. Jason Galvin joining us for our weekly post-race recap. And all you fans out there, share the show right now. We've had Austin. We've had Greg. We got Galvin now. Galvin, the kid, I know you've known him. I don't know if everybody understands. There's some family ties there. But you get to see Austin throughout this arc, racing with Tobler, racing now with his dad. What did you see on Sunday that was different than his other performances?
Helps if I unmute it, right? Yeah, listen, Joe, just the intensity, right? I mean, I've seen that out of Austin Prock a couple of times. That was pretty rare. Felt like he had that intensity at Gainesville last year, his first race in the funny car. Like he understood the moment. Indy last year, he was certainly very, very locked in, understood the gravity of the situation, driving the best car in the world at the U.S. Nationals, the most important race, the final round, and all the symmetry there between his grandpa having raced Snake in a similar car, right? So all of that. But listen, it's funny. I was talking about the family ties there, right? And I was talking to the middle person in that family tie earlier today. I said, man, if Austin Prock shows up like that to every race the rest of the year, I mean, are we just handing him the trophy? I hate to do that to the rest of the funny car class. I have tremendous respect for Matt Hagan and Jack Beckman and Ron Capps and J.R. Todd. They're all world champions for a reason, and they all have very good race cars. But I mean, we're now going on a year and a half, Joe. We talk about it every week. It's we're 13 races into this year. So we're 33 races into his funny car career. He's won, 43 or 44% of them. That's that's not, Steve Torrance had the perfect countdown, right? He had 6 races where everything came together. If you're winning 40% of your Nitro races and funny car, there's 15 full-time Nitro funny cars. Like everybody talks about car counts and whatever. There's 15 full-time funny cars. I don't know if like the world has quite grasped that yet.
They
Funny
don't.
cars very healthy. They have not, is the answer, right?
They don't.
I
They're
know.
people posting
Correct.
entry lists and they're doing
Right.
it as a negative deal. And yes, I wish we
Right.
had more entries. But the idea that one of our premier categories, Nitro Funny Car, has 15 cars that
Right.
go to every race is
Yeah.
crazy. But I guess they're incapable of understanding that.
There's $3.5–4 million in like the bare minimum, right? Like we're gonna build a team and go to every single race. Like there's 15 of those cars out there. So and to watch Austin do what he does every single week, it feels like, and then to see him drive like he did on Sunday. I mean, man possessed, the look in his eyes. It's funny that Jordan Vandergriff was the one that sparked that out of him. Jordan and Austin are really good friends. They had a great rivalry though in 2019 when they were both young. AP was in the second year and Jordan was a rookie, I believe, in Top Fuel, and they had this great rivalry over who had the better reaction time each round, each week. And for Jordan to have spent a couple days at Austin's house while he was in Indy, getting fitted in Sean Reed's car and working on getting back into the groove, for that to be what sparked that response out of Austin, I thought it was pretty funny that that's what set him off. But look, I mean, professional athletes around the world use all sorts of different things for motivation, and Sunday Austin Prock was the best driver in NHRA. Like I'll say that. Like Sunday Austin Prock was the best driver in NHRA by a significant margin. I feel like that every single round to be 40 or 50 in a funny car, every single round like that is ridiculous. It really is.
Well, it really is. It really is. It was crazy to see him and his demeanor on the top end. If he does bottle that.
By the way, it brought the best out of everybody he raced. Like J.R. Todd left with him in the finals. Like, let's make no mistake. It's not like J.R. Todd was late. Car smoked the tires. If J.R. Todd runs what he ran in the semis in the final, that's the best drag race and funny car all year. I mean, honestly, Austin didn't make a killer run in the final. Who knows? J.R. runs an 87. He wins the race pretty easily, So, I mean, J.R., that's as on the chip as we've seen JR in a while too. And I think having, I'm sure we'll talk about Eric Enders, but when you have a race car that you're comfortable and that you're confident in, and you're a world champion, you tend to rise to the occasion. And I thought we saw that in funny car all weekend.
I agree 100%. And Cornwell Tools US Nationals coming up. And so we'll all get a chance to see everybody at their best, but that Austin Prock we saw this weekend. And if, like Hagan can get there, he's done it 4 times. Ron Capps can get there, he's done it 3 times. They got to get there now. There's no more waiting. This is it. It's Indy. It's the playoffs starting now, and it's going to be exciting to see people elevate. But what I like about Austin is that he's overt. You see it. Whereas some drivers, it's internal and it's on the inside. Whereas with him, there was no doubt you could be a fan of the NFL or MLB, and you could easily see the competitor come out in Austin Prock. You mentioned J.R. Todd. Hats off to those guys. They had a good weekend. A couple other teams had good weekends. Matt Hagan, they haven't beaten J.R. on Sunday yet, which I asked AP about that. I don't think you were on for that part, but he's like, I think we can keep winning. He goes, I believe we can keep beating them.
I don't think that Austin Prock has ever put his helmet on and rolled up to the water box and thought, I'm not winning this round. And like, that's easy to say, right? I mean, come on, Joe, like you and I race on a much smaller level, right? But we put the helmet on and get rolling to the water box. Like, it's not like we're looking over. It doesn't matter who's in the other lane going, man, I'm really screwed here, right? I mean, there might be times where I got to really be on my game. I got to get on it. But I think inherently to be a competitor and want to do that, you have to believe that you have a chance to win every time. I don't think Austin Prock thinks he has a chance to win. I think Austin Prock rolls into the water every single time he's in that funny car and thinks we are going to win this round. And if we don't, it is an epic failure. Not like a little disappointment. If they would have lost to JR, if Austin leaves on JR and JR runs another 86 and Austin runs a 90 and they lose by 200ths of a second, I don't think Austin would have got out and gone, well, JR Todd had the best race car today. Austin would have got out and been living. And it to constantly be, kind of on the chip, as we like to say in our family, like that all the time. That's a rare breed.
Absolutely. All right. Top Fuel, Doug Coletta again. And it's like, Alan Johnson. We talked to Mac Savage on the show last week, and Mac was just very analytically laying out many things. For those of you who didn't see that interview, Mac is a very interesting character, and he is a quiet person who doesn't do a lot of media. I am so thankful that he gave us his time because he laid out a lot of details. And Doug Coletta, back-to-back races, and it's not what they did, it's how they did it.
Yeah, well, listen, smart in round one, right? This is not a knock on Terry Totten's team, but that team just, frankly, didn't seem super prepared for the weekend, right? Didn't make a run till Q4, almost didn't get the car started. They were late getting to the line for round one on Sunday. So they were short staffed. I certainly appreciate their efforts getting to the track, and I love having Terry Totten out there, but that car was behind the 8 ball all weekend. So what did Alan Johnson do in round one? I'm not going to say he laid up a little bit, but played it safe. 372, 337, knowing they had a bye run in round two in a 14-car ladders and a one qualifier. And round two was when Alan kind of flexed his muscle there. The 68 to earn lane choice in the semis, and then 66 in the semis, and a 67-0. Basically made an identical run between the semis and the finals within 5 thou. And Doug Coletta had the best car in Top Fuel for the second straight weekend. And you started to see this, Joe, in Seattle. And it wasn't just qualifying, that round one, the 62.8, the 340 mile per hour run. Like, there was maturations of an Alan Johnson dominant tune-up that showed up in Seattle, and it didn't carry through to a win. Came up a semifinal loss short, but the writing was on the wall. And then Sonoma was dominant, and Brainerd was dominant. And now all of a sudden, Top Fuel is the most interesting category for me this weekend when it comes to the regular season championship, because you have 3 cars that can legitimately win it in Langdon, Doug, and Tony Stewart, depending on how the weekend and Monday play out. But qualifying points are going to be huge. There's extra points in qualifying at Indy. You get 4 for being number 1 in a round instead of 3. You get them 5 rounds instead of 4. They've got a Mission Foods challenge on Saturday, so that's going to factor into some things. But we're going to be watching points all weekend in Top Fuel, round by round. Funny Car is basically decided. Austin Prock would have to have like the worst weekend in racing history from a penalty
not
point
show
standpoint.
up like you said. We talked about it.
I mean, he could show up, but I've got to oil the track all 6 runs, cross the center line all 6 runs, and lose round 1. Like, come on, right? That's not going to happen. But and then Pro Stock. You heard Greg Anderson say, Pro Stock will basically be whoever has the better day Monday between he and Dallas, and that's pretty much decided. And Pro Stock Motorcycle, Gage, it has a couple round lead on Richard, and it just kind of feels like, barring Gage Herrera having some sort of mechanical issue or falling asleep in round number 1, that's pretty much settled. Top Fuel, like, flip a coin right now. Doug Coletta's got the best car right now. Sean Langdon's had the best car all year. Indy looks like it's going to be a little warmer than the last couple races, and I'm not talking like don't come to Indy, it's going to be unusually hot, but the weather right now is 79 to 82 every day, which is beautiful. But do you know what 79 to 82 every day has been really good for this year? This guy named Tony Stewart, who when it was 79 to 82 every day during race weekends, he was winning races left and right and going to the semis and the finals left and right. It's just this kind of cool stretch over the summer where they've gotten behind a little. So there's 3 cars right there, and Justin Ashley is not mathematically out of it at this point, Joe. And if Justin Ashley is 35 on the tree every round and everybody else has a bad day, who knows, right? I mean, Doug Coletta didn't qualify at Indy last year.
Yes.
And here's where we're going to get to the entry listing. And people go, well, but look at the entry list. There's only 16 cars. And I'm here to tell you that I know of, at a bare minimum, 1 that should be on the list today. And I think there's more than 1. So there will be bumping in both Nitro classes at the U.S. Nationals. Trust me.
If I'm Kyle Sattenstein, I'm coming to Indy.
And, I don't know. Maybe I know something. Maybe I don't.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, he just told me directly on Instagram, because they tagged me in a post, and I was like, hey, when's your next race, dude? And for guys, listen, there's a lot of people that just show up at NHRA every once in a while, but this kid was a little different. That's all I'm saying.
Could drive, was cutting lights, car looked as good as that car has ever looked. And they've had a dozen people drive it. And, ran 80s pretty effortlessly. When's the last time the leverage car ran 80s pretty effortlessly? The answer is never. So, I mean, that car all of a sudden becomes a spoiler car at Indy.
If I'm Kyle Sattenstein, I don't want people to forget who I am. I don't want to step away from the spotlight. And I think his budget is 3 races. I might just run the 3 next races and try to make a statement. Because
Reading is home for them essentially. So I would, he's from New York. The leverage team's from up there in the New England area. Like I would imagine Reading is a for sure for them. And so to your point, yeah, I mean, come to Indy, Kyle, please.
Well, I think so too. So we shall see. Randy Johnson says, don't forget Clay though. Clay obviously went to the final round. He's got a couple of big wins. He's a defending race winner. None of us here are forgetting Clay. We love
nobody's
Clay.
writing off Clay. And here's the thing I'll say about Clay. If you're looking at Play NHRA season-long odds to win the championship, here's the one thing I think the odds makers, because this is really the first full year, right? Came out middle of last year. Here's the one thing I believe the odds makers still are not really accounting for when they're writing odds. The points reset for the countdown. Now, should Austin Prock be a runaway favorite? Obviously. Should Greg and Dallas be heavy, heavy favorites over the rest of Pro Stock? Duh. Should Gage be the favorite in Pro Stock motorcycle? Of course, because look at history. In Top Fuel, there should never, in my opinion, should any of, let's call it like the top 7 or 8 cars, if you just go look at the points, none of those cars should be very far away from the other one until after the reset, in my opinion, because the reset is going to tighten everybody up, to your point, and we've seen Clay Millican go on runs. And Clay Millican here, if you're going to get Clay Millican as a long shot, like, I can't offer betting advice, but I'm just saying, look at my face here. Like, it's kind of interesting. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, Clay Millican to win the world championship, he's about to get a teammate for the first time. And Jimmo and Nikki and Jesse and that entire team are about to get Rob Flynn and Troy Fashing and some really smart people and Tony Schumacher, the winningest driver, the greatest driver in Top Fuel history, in their camp. It's a second car. It's more data. It's Rob and Troy who tuned the first 300 mile an hour to the 8th car, who have won countless races, who have worked with Jim Oberhofer at Coletta over the years, and Nikki. Like, these are crew chiefs who have a history and have a rapport. And it's Tony Schumacher joining Clay Millican. And Clay Millican drove his butt off this weekend. Like, he was cutting the tree down left and right. You're going to give that team an extra car and data and somebody who could play spoiler and, somebody who, if we race each other, maybe you feel a little better about beating, right? Like, I hate to say that, but like, come on, like it is what it is, right? So all of a sudden you've taken a single car team and you've given them that extra help. I mean, I think you can't sleep on that team at all. Not after what we just saw in Brainerd.
Yeah. And the Clay Millican beating Brittany in the semi. That's a race that comes down to thousandths of a second. Brittany throwing up a couple more 340s just for the crowd. Like you go to a race now, you want to see a 340. It's like part of drag racing. Brittany throws out a 340 to the crowd. 2 of them this weekend. Great, but came up a couple of thousandths short. She was great on the tree. She's 59. He's 53. She's 71.8. He's 71.5. So Clay beats her. But what a run there. And then Clay goes to the final round, has a bit of a problem. Doug wins the race, but it's getting interesting. You mentioned Pro Stock. We started off with Greg Anderson and Dallas. We kind of talked heavy on those guys. I want to talk Erica Enders, right? Erica Enders. Back and she got in Stanfield's car, which was her old car. And it seems like something about that car is more comfortable to her. 2114-009. If Dallas isn't 11, if Dallas is 15, she wins.
Correct.
And that's Erica Enders that we are all used to. A lot of people have been trying to throw dirt on her grave as a driver, and I don't know. I don't think so.
No. Listen, it's easy to throw graves on people when they're struggling, right? Probably could have thrown dirt on the grave of Greg Anderson, 4 seasons ago, right?
Yes.
There was a time. Right. There was a time when Greg was on the downswing of his career and everybody thought, this is the end. And, Greg's going to, slowly step aside and let the young kids take over. And people were talking about, when is Cody going to get his license? Because Greg needs to get out of the car. And surprise, he's the world champion and, has the best car in the country again. Right. So this is just the ebbs and flows of Pro Stock is what it really is. But she certainly looked comfortable. She had a different aura about her. I don't know if you got to talk to her at all this weekend. I talked to her a little bit on Saturday in the starting line. And she just felt Erica's one of those people you can kind of gather her vibe just by talking to her. If you know her well, kind of know where she's at and what she's thinking and feeling. And I think Norwalk a couple weeks ago, leaving Sonoma and going to Bader's and Night Under Fire, I think that was really good for her. And getting back in this car was really good for her. And she was on her game all weekend. Now, I'd like to see it more than once, obviously. I'd like to see that car run with Dallas and Greg in Indy, and I'd like to see Aaron Stanfield run with them in Indy and, see some more competition there. But for now, I mean, I can only base it off of what I saw last, and what I saw last was an Erica Enders who is going to win a race very soon if the car runs like that and she's cutting lights like that.
Absolutely.
Which is great for the class. Like, the class needs Erica Enders, and for that matter, Aaron Stanfield and Jed Coughlin Jr. to show up in finals and make it interesting.
Well, you said it. The KB guys, we've already got a problem with it. People calling it pro Maro. You lose the Ford and the Mopar fans. They're diehards. They just can't find it in them to understand that it's a clutch category, that it's naturally aspirated category. We trained everybody to be so diehard manufacturer for so many years. Now they can't let it go. I get that. So it's tough. But if you're not a KB Titan guy for the regular season, you've had a problem. Now your drivers are emerging all of a sudden. You've got Erica is showing the world that she didn't forget how to drive. She didn't forget.
Well, and reminder, we talked about Greg and Dallas should be the heavy favorites come the countdown, but the reset will affect Pro Stock, not quite as dramatically as it will Top Fuel. Funny Car and Pro Stock, they've got a little bigger gap there, but still, I mean, like, you look at the Mission Foods Challenge, right? I mean, who's the Mission Foods Challenge leader in Pro Stock right now? It's Matt Hartford, and Dallas, right? But like, Hartford's going to gain a gap if he can hold on to third. He's suddenly going to be right there with Greg. That's going to matter when we leave Indy. All of a sudden, Hartford's going to be there, and Corey Reed's going to be there, and if Erica and Aaron have one more big race, at the U.S. Nationals, they could be right there as well. I mean, Aaron Stanfield is 5th in points. He could absolutely surpass Corey Reed at Indy, no question. He could catch Matt Hartford, but it would take a lot to happen, right? Hartford loses round 1, Stanfield wins the race, but that could happen, right? But Stanfield could definitely get to 4th, and now you're telling me he's only 3 or 4 rounds back. That at least means Dallas and Greg have to start looking over their shoulder. And if they leave Indy and the elite cars have maintained this, kind of closing of the gap that we've seen, then when you get to Reading, and KB is going to have to be, kind of on their game. Not that they haven't been all year; they've been beating the doors off of people, right? But you never know how that pressure sets in, right? I mean, we've seen it over the years. How many times have we seen one of these two teams look like they were the dominant team, or organization, I guess, look like they were the dominant organization, and the other one starts to find something about this time of the year, and then the countdown comes around, and it's like, where has this been all year? I mean, there's precedence for it on both sides of the camps.
Absolutely. Well, we shall see. And that's where 1.5 points, I think everyone wanted 1.5 points to come in when it comes to the regular season points lead and championship. And maybe it didn't develop that way. Where it really comes in is, 10th up to 5th, where the guy who's in 10th can leapfrog his way up to 6th in the final race and put himself or herself within striking distance of the leader. And so everyone should be looking at the people in the back of the points and realizing that a great run at Indy can vault them so much closer to the points leader. It could end up making a difference come countdown time. So we shall see. All right. Other race winners, because I got a couple extra things I want to talk to you about. I just want to tick off the things that were important. John DeFlorian in Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Amazing. I was so, annoyed I didn't get to interview him at the top end, but we'll catch up with him. Great thing. Still a couple of races to go, but John DeFlorian looking really good in Mountain Motor Pro Stock.
Yeah. I mean, that's 3 in a row for John DeFlorian, right? Best stretch of his career. And he's opened up a couple round lead over Johnny Placino, who, went out in round 1, and that swung the door open. Unfortunately, whatever the situation there is, they're down on cars, at Brainerd. And listen, I heard, we all know that I's running them now and this and that, whatever. But the cars that we were down, I've watched the IHRA mountain motor races. There's not many of the NHRA cars that have gone that direction, right? And if that's going to be the case, then, moving forward, then so be it. What it means, though, is that, like, Johnny Placino's got to get going. Like he's going to run out of time quick if there's not a lot of other help there. And for that matter, but like Brad Waddle's car has roared to life as well here. And it's unfortunate. Brad Waddle missed a race, a death in the family, coming off a win. And if Brad Waddle shows up at that race and loses in round 1, he's a round out of John DeFlorian. We got a 3-car battle for the world championship at that point. So that part of it's unfortunate. But listen, John DeFlorian is he's one of the nicest people I think I've ever met in my life, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I don't know many people who love drag racing and being a drag racer more than him. And he totally strikes me as that guy who never in his life believed he'd be in a position like this. Like you can genuinely feel that when you talk to him, when you see his interviews. And I think if you ever wanted proof of it, right, of how much the sport loves John DeFlorian, right? Like John DeFlorian drives a Jerry Haas car that has sponsorship from Matt Hartford. Like Richard Freeman has been an RJ guy. Erica and Matt Hartford do not get along. Like there's all of this stuff that should make in theory John DeFlorian be kind of part of the group that butts heads a little bit with the elite folks. And the elite people, like, I'm sure they weren't happy that Mike Coughlin lost the race, right? But like the elite people were shaking hands and hugging John DeFlorian and like celebrating with him because there's nobody in the world who doesn't like John DeFlorian. So
nobody.
It's a great story.
You know what those people are called? They're called communists, is what they're called. The people who don't like John DeFlorian.
Classic Joe Castello line right there.
It is a classic Joe Castello. And some people don't get it. You got to be a little bit older. You got to grow up with the Cold War to understand.
Right.
The humor.
Yeah. Red Dawn. Red Dawn.
Yeah. Red Dawn. At any moment, man. At any moment, they could be coming. All right, Larry Spider-Man McBride, another win. Top Fuel Motorcycle. He's going to be the champ. He's crowned the champ. So that one is over. Way to go, Spider-Man.
Yeah. The thing about him, it's just so impressive to watch him, right? I mean, anytime that Top Fuel Motorcycle's at the track, if you've never like really sat there and paid attention, you need to watch the run in person. If you can watch it on TV all you want, you can hear me and Loans and you all talk about it. But unless you sit there and watch the way that man manipulates a 240 plus mile per hour to the 1,000-foot mark motorcycle, it's crazy. I want nothing to do with that, by the way. There's a lot of things that are stupid and crazy I would try, and every time I watch that, I'm like, man,
come on.
Like, who in their right mind gets on one of these things?
I'd rather, let Roger Clemens throw at my head before that happens. Like, get out of here. All right, rest of the winners. The two Fast 2 Tasties, it was Langdon, Greg Anderson, and Jack Beckman. Top dragster, Mark Graham. Michael Chitty wins top sportsman. He won the week before as well, so he's looking good. Donnie Dernberger, that guy, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago. Remember, you tipped me off on the double with the sportsman motorcycle. He wins his second national out there at BIR. But this one, he told the story. Last time he won, his mom was going in to get chemo the next morning. They had no celebration, and it was a very heavy moment for Donnie. This time he got to celebrate. So great for the Go Lithium guys. Super Gas, Jason Kenny. Jason Kenny, I don't want to say, but I want everybody to monitor. Jason Kenny has run it up at Indy in Super Gas 3 consecutive seasons. If this guy punches it in at Indy, man, it will be the greatest story of perseverance. Maybe Bo isn't going to run. I don't know what the deal is, what Bo is going to do, because Bo wins Indy automatically the last 3 years. But
right.
Just saying. It's wild. Who else? Winners. Brian Johnson winning in Super Comp. Ryan Hooter, in Stock Eliminator. Yeah. Jason DeForest. I started to say it the wrong way. I want to say it the right way. Matt Harris, Sean Bellemure, and Anthony Troyer. Anthony Troyer was very emotional, very fired up on the second win. Of course, Sean Bellemure, they are a machine that cannot be stopped.
Kudos to you with Tater Troyer holding the time slip from him until you did the interview.
I held it back.
The Insider podcast, that's, Tony Pedregon's on like his 5th week in a row with Loans of having a 10-minute rant about that. And Joe nailed it on the top end. And the emotion out of Anthony Troyer when he saw it and the fist pump and, he wanted to let an expletive out and saw that he was at 45 or 46, wins the race on a whole shot, won the semis on a whole shot. Anthony Troyer had the best car, I think, in Charlotte and threw it away in the 4 wides. And that team has kind of gone into a rut since then. They came out of it this weekend in a big way. And after what we saw in Pomona earlier this year and what we saw this weekend, the way the Lucas Oil points work, it's never really over till it's over because of drops and all the races you can run. And there's a lot of drag racing left for the alcohol cars, especially. But that young man has impressed me so much in his ability to drive that car and cut a tree. There's not somebody with like a mass drag racing background who ran juniors and Summit Series and was be double O take double O guy. Like his most of the extent of Anthony Troyer's real drag racing experience is in a factory stock showdown car. Nothing like driving an injected nitro machine.
Yeah,
And
he
he
found his
has
home.
he's been phenomenal in that car. So tip of the hat to him.
All right. Good job, Tater. Couple other things. This Friday night deal we've done past couple of weeks, right? Like the throne of beer.
Jason Galvin photo, folks.
And this one, actually, I did a screen capture myself. I didn't get your photo of the screen. Please send it because I am going to make some social media. But we had fun. It's a fun deal. We had a good time.
That is.
You like having fun, right?
I do.
Like
Listen,
fun with different moments. So
American Rebel Light and Andy Ross, that we've talked about it. They're head over heels in love with drag racing, and I love people who are head over heels in love with drag racing. Andy's a really cool guy, and he really does genuinely love the sport. So I love these events. We're not doing one at Indy. I've had some people ask. We're not doing one. We're just not. Indy doesn't need it. Like Friday night Indy doesn't need this. Okay, Friday night Indy is already big enough. It does not need this. I don't know if we have any plans for the countdown outside of the traditional one that kind of kicked us off in Dallas. I've had some ideas.
Well, Dallas, they got to be thinking like everybody stole our idea, right? Because it's a good idea, and they kind of stole the idea.
It is a great idea.
The richest one is Dallas.
I've got some. I've got some ideas I've been trying to throw around the World Finals, but there's some people who are like, well, we don't run late enough Friday night. It's the World Finals, but maybe it'll come to fruition at the Winter Nationals next year.
Maybe.
It's too easy, Joe. There's cheeseburgers, dude.
These guys, great
yes,
job.
These guys,
both of them. Sean in the booth, Jordan in the car, knocking the rust off. Quick thought.
And so I thought Jordan did a really nice job driving the car, except for Q1, and I think Jordan would tell you the same thing. In fact, he has, I think, multiple times. But it's going to happen. Hadn't been in a dragster in 5 or 6 years. Hadn't been in a competition run. All that stuff. I thought he did a really nice job, and frankly, I think that he helped them learn some stuff. Really, I really think that he helped that team learn. Sean Reed's reaction times are not good. Like statistically speaking, it's not a shot at Sean Reed, the driver. Statistically speaking, numerically speaking, facts are facts. Sean Reed averages a 98 reaction time this year. Jordan Vandergriff got in that car and was 80 one time. He was 88, and he said he was rolled in, chunked in. He's like, the car just doesn't snap off the line. And Sean has been complaining about that, and I know that Rob Wendland and Ryan Elliott have been working to try to make that better, but, until you really put somebody else in the car and see it play out, and we saw it play out. So I actually think that's going to end up being a great move for Sean Reed for a litany of reasons. The press was great. It was good to get Jordan back in the car. He drove it really well. But I also think that's going to help them find, like, all right, we really got to figure out why doesn't this car snap off the line with everybody else? Like, Sean Reed's not a 98 guy. Like, come on. You and I have been around Sean Reed for too long. I'm not saying he's Justin Ashley. He's not a 98 guy. Guy went to the final round when he had good stuff with BVI.
Like this whole time, he's been like, man, I don't know what my problem is. I don't know why
he's beating himself up. And it's like, okay, we put Jordan in the car and he's 105, not chunked in. So him and Sean are basically the same driver, which tells you like they just got to work on it. No problem. That's good news, I think, for them. Maybe bad news for the rest of Top Fuel, because that's a really good car that has lost on pole shots a couple times. And if they get that figured out, all of a sudden that car becomes a player every week, right? So I got no insight on Indy. Everybody keeps asking me. I'm sure you're hearing it too.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Jordan driving to the Indy. I have no insight. I can tell you, I think Jordan at this point, maybe today he does, but as of Sunday night, Jordan legitimately was unsure of whether it would be him or somebody else. I know
well, a
Sean's
lot of people are trying to
options.
pay Sean for the ride. Like, let's be honest. Like, a lot of people, you don't have to be a genius to think of which licensed Top Fuel racers are out there without a ride, but maybe have enough money to give it to Sean to be in a top tier car and go out and showcase their name at Indy.
Number 3 qualifier last week. Great race car. It's a great race car. Number 3 qualifier. Can't blame people for wanting to try to jump into that.
Right. And Jordan doesn't have that. And so what does Sean do? Because he's going to be locked into the countdown. And so what do? Do you let this other person? Do you take their money? Do you put Jordan back in there because he's your buddy? Like, it's a legit deal. We'll track that story. One final thing happened this past weekend, and I want your take as we get ready for the bowl.
Look at this. Man. That's a great Chat GPT little creation you had there.
Attempt.
I'm really impressed.
To text. I wish I could show you all the prompts because I've been talking with the Ignition audience about the power of AI and how much fun it is. And so this was a one attempt. Bowling poster, Jason Galvin from NHRA, Courtney Enders, and it puked out this on the first attempt. And to me, it's gold.
It's phenomenal. I love everything about it. What I really love here is that
There's one mistake on it. Can you figure out the mistake?
You made me left-handed?
Well, yeah, you're left-handed and you've already completed your bowl, except you've still got the ball. ChatGPT doesn't understand the mechanics of bowling, but beyond
Courtney's ball only has two holes instead of 3.
And she should have let go of it by now. But these are small things.
Right. Is there a big thing I don't know about, or was that the thing?
No, that's it.
Oh, so here's what I'm
And
going
you're
to
a
point
little
out. What I love about this
actually are. I mean, they could have put a couple extra pounds on you.
So what I was going to say, what I think is phenomenal here, Joe, is that you've taken an absolutely beautiful woman and made her very mediocre, while at the same time making an absolutely not beautiful fat dude look pretty solid. Like, that was nice. It was good. What you did was you had ChatGPT. What it did was it took Courtney and Galvin. I got to go this way, right? It took Courtney and Galvin, and it just, it kind of did this a little bit. Like,
that's fair.
It was very sweet.
I
it was
acknowledge
very,
that
very
too.
sweet.
How do you say make the girl prettier, ChatGPT? It just
I don't know. Ask it and see what happens. I've asked ChatGPT to do some really crazy stuff, and it works sometimes.
Nobody cares about ChatGPT. They want to know, you said that Courtney bowls with the bumpers, and that's what started it. Ignited the spark that ignited the flame.
It did.
I was with her.
Listen,
we were face to face when this happened. She was like, "Rrr?" Like, what did I do? All of a sudden. And now people are asking me, is this bowl down really going to happen? You know me. I am down for it. Courtney says she's down for it. I love creating very minor things into very big things. It's kind of a hobby of mine. We've got 7 races to go. What is your take on this?
I mean, my take is I am always down to get embarrassed. So
you're lowering expectations right out of the box. You're already lowering expectations.
No,
can you win this thing or not?
I'm gonna win, yeah. But like, if I get embarrassed, I get embarrassed. Oh well, I'll eat it. But
Have you bowled ever?
Come on. Yeah, I have. Absolutely. I have a ball in my closet. Absolutely.
You said that. You own the equipment. You have a ball.
Yes. Yeah.
Will you be bowling at the bowl down with your own ball?
And not unless we're going to do it in Bakersfield or the World Finals.
See, we've got to come up with a rules package here. House balls and
house balls, house shoes, house shoes, house lanes. Yeah, house balls, house shoes, house lanes. Like,
well, we got to get Courtney to agree to this. We'll bring the camps together and discuss. I'm sure. I don't know if Shake and Bake is going to address this kind of silliness.
Listen, Vegas was what you threw out there, but I'm going to throw out Dallas.
Where's there a bowling alley?
In Dallas, Texas, the 5th largest city in the country.
We're not going 40 minutes away from the track.
There's got to be a bowling alley somewhere in Waxahachie or one of those cities over there. Come on.
Perhaps.
I'm just saying. And Courtney lives in the area. We could do it Tuesday night before the champions dinner. It could be great.
That's a little too early in the week, I think. I think we need fans to be there. Yes. So Racers for Christ has a bowling event in Vegas on Thursday night, but it ends at 9:00. Well, it's from 7 to 9. We've got our summit thing. I'm thinking maybe after it's over.
Yeah,
we've already got a built-in people there at 9:00. You guys come in, you do your one game, 10 frames for dominance, the bowl down.
I'm down.
We got to run this by Camp Courtney. We don't know what she's going to say about all this.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Right.
Nikki Shealy, NHRA social media. Like, we got to check with everybody. But yes.
I'm thinking there could be a charitable component, although there doesn't have to be. It could just be for blood. But anyway, the bowl down, it's now public. We talked about it on 2 consecutive days on the NHRA live stream. It's made WFO. Maybe it'll make Shake and Bake. Who knows? The bowl down. Courtney versus Jason Galvin. And here's the thing. If anyone falls 50 pins behind, the bumpers have to come up in their lane. As a humiliation.
That's actually funny. As a humiliation.
As a humiliation. There has to be humiliation.
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
Like it.
I'm down to get humiliated.
I knew you would. As when was I.
When are we going to do the Joe Castello bocce tournament we've been talking about for years in St. Louis?
Not this year in St. Louis, unfortunately. I wanted to do the bocce tournament, but it's not working out this year.
I would stomp in that tournament. But you've actually played bocce with me, so you know I can play bocce.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You were definitely good at bocce. I was pretty good at bocce. That was when we first hung out with Kurt Spittler and had ourselves a good time. Always love a bocce tournament, but St.
All right,
Louis
let's go back to
taking
you
up.
holding sharp objects.
How about this?
Yeah.
I took part in the NHRA Safety Safari SFI course. These are a couple
What happens
of
when you let
photos.
Joe drive a rental car? It ends up like that.
Yes. I fought a fire. It's all on my Instagram.
Yeah.
It was a great course.
the Amcus
Cutter
and
spreader.
cutter. Yeah. Spreader. Yeah.
It's not the other one. The other one is a name brand.
Correct.
The Amcus Cutter.
The Amcus one's way better right here.
It was 80 pounds, man. You turn that thing and it just cuts it like butter. It was amazing. Great experience.
You did a
I
great
recommend
job.
everybody do it.
You did a great job.
Anything I apply myself to and actually care about, I tend to be, above average. So maybe, I'll join the safety safari. I'll run off like the circus. Join the safety safari one of these days. Great job, Jason Galvin. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Joe. Big week in Indy. Looking forward to it. Tuesday night for the racers who are coming, sportsman dinner. I think the prizes we have for the sportsman dinner Tuesday night, which is free for all competitors and their family and crew. I think the prizes we have to raffle off are the best that we've ever had.
Bags of
there's
ice.
a story. Say it again.
Bags of ice.
Yeah, right. Bags of ice. We have.
It took a second to sink in. It took a second to get in there.
It did. That was good. Race Tech donated a seat, and there's multiple Carlisle tool carts. Multiple big time performance companies have donated not just gift certificates, but certificates for full setups, like a full MSD ignition grid. Simpsons donated a bunch of stuff from a safety standpoint. It's very cool. And there'll be a story on NHRA.com tomorrow morning that kind of lays all this stuff out. But we're also going to announce, but I'll give you guys all a little teaser here. Our friends at Cornwell have given us a $17,000 84-inch toolbox to give away. And we are going to announce at the dinner how one lucky competitor at the U.S. Nationals can win the toolbox. And you have to earn the toolbox on the racetrack. You don't have to be at the dinner to find out how. We're going to tell everybody, obviously, but I'd want to be there for it. It's pretty cool. It's like the nicest toolbox I've ever seen in my life. And somebody's going to get to take it home with them from the U.S. Nationals if they earn it. So,
Wild.
Well,
That's just part of Indy, the experience. It's a marathon.
Class at Indy. Can't wait for class on Thursday. It's a big week. It's Indy. I hear there's a birdie that tells me that we may get some information pertaining to the 2026 season at some point during the U.S. Nationals. I don't know that we've totally settled on that at this point, but could
feels like a good time to release news.
Historically speaking, it has been during the U.S. Nationals that we get that information. So
yes.
and I'll just because I won't be on next week, Joe, and we'll all be busy. There's a little teaser out there, but whenever we get around to releasing the schedule, I'm just saying there's going to be some eyeballs. That was a good time to freeze, Joe? There we go.
Now you're back. But it was a good time.
There's gonna be some eyebrows, and I think in a very positive way. So it's exciting.
I think so too.
Put the poll down. The poll down.
A lot of positive things are happening.
You
Jason,
gotta send me the poll down.
Well, yes, I will. I will send it now that it has been revealed. I will send it to both you and to Courtney. All right, great job, Jason Galvin. Good times, Brainerd, Minnesota. Me and my fellow Minnesotans welcome you to our city each year. Thank you for that.
You set the PO box up yet?
Yes, I got a PO box. I got a whole residency. All there. Castello Media LLC. Later, Jason Galvin. There he goes, Jason Galvin. You can follow him on X and on his social media. Did a great job. We have such a blast out there at the NHRA. Did not go to the zoo this year. I know Greg mentioned that I did, but I didn't. This was very fun. And fighting the fire, if you haven't seen it, we saw how they roll over a car using the two safety safari trucks. What I will say is that, first of all, that course is available to people who work at the NHRA facilities, and it was very inexpensive. And you learn a lot about situational, where to park the truck as the car is on the track, where to be, things to look out for. I learned so much about the positioning of our trucks 1, 2, and 3, what they do, who calls the ball, all of these things. And the thing about safety is it's never going to be perfect. The expectations that it will be perfect, I don't know if that's a realistic thing. That's probably some social media warrior out there setting up a false expectation. But the expectation that whatever happens, you learn from it and try to make it better every single time, I think is right. And that's what they are doing. They're talking, there's questions. There was a classroom portion of it. We weren't just out there having fun playing with toys like the Amicus Cutter. We were out there after 4 hours of intense classroom discussion, presentations being made about how to remove the driver from the car and different pieces of equipment that are beneficial. All of those things that tracks should have. I highly recommend it. So if you have a track, if you work at a track, you could be an NHRA track or not an NHRA track, I would reach out to the National Hot Rod Association Safety Safari and see if you can get your people in on this class, because it was amazing. And then, yes, they lit a car on fire and I got to fight the fire down to nothing myself. And, back of the car, that's where the tank is. And I'm in there and I'm trying to do my best. And next thing you know, I'll be in a firefighter calendar. Maybe not, because I look like this. Yeah, this is an eye opener. As much as it's fun and funny, I try to make fun and some comedy with every situation that I go into. Can't be overly serious. That's not my deal. You put me down here on the top end, I'm going to try to have a little bit of fun. And I think it turned out great. I know I'm never going to entertain every single person. There are people that they puke in their mouth at the sight of my face and the sound of my voice. There's a couple of them in every 100 people. You too. You can't control it. For every 100 people, a few of them hate you like vile poison. But most of the feedback I got was positive. Before we go, let's get your comments in the comment section, guys. Final thoughts on Brainerd, Minnesota. Final thoughts on Brainerd, Minnesota. And while you're putting those into the chat section, I want to remind you that Patreons get the Hear It From Heiner show. If you're not a Patreon, if you sign up for a year, we'll send you a t-shirt. Patreon.com/WFO radio. And you get the Monday motivation and you get to watch the ignition video and you get to, whatever bonus stuff we send your way. Plus some swag. You get WFO stickers. We send you some swag when you join up, although I've got to do that. I've got to send them out. Some people have been on for like 2 weeks and they haven't gotten anything. That's right. They haven't gotten anything. But check it out. Patreon.com/WFO radio. Shout out to our friends at Right Trailers. I'm making some updates to my trailer organization-wise. But I wouldn't even have a trailer if it wasn't for the folks at Right Trailers nationwide, 83331-RIGHT, who took my trailer that had good bones and updated it in a way that I now feel confident towing over the road whenever we bring out Project Pontiac. Very excited to try to make the race in Rockingham at the end of this year. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. WFO swag is on sale. Morris Motorsports, the Fire t-shirts, Classic Miami Hollywood Speedway, and you can even get Life's a Drag stuff is now available. Elon and Jason Logan. Their shirts are in the store. You can put them on a mug if you like Life's a Drag. Now, do you like Life's a Drag? That's a different question. I think they are improving every week. Every week, we just do a little bit of a debrief. Want to make it more of a show, a little less of two guys BSing. They're bringing up controversial issues. I talked to Justin Ashley and Daniel Wilkerson, who are my, market research for Life's a Drag, because they both listen to the audio-only version of the show. And they're giving me tips and pointers on these guys, which I immediately relay to Jason Logan and Elon. But they both said the high water marks of the show is the access to John Force stories that are available nowhere else other than Elon's brain. Having worked alongside of John Force for 15 years, and little road stories, road warrior stories about him and Force on the highway, and, him stopping in the middle of the highway. Crazy stuff. So if I was you, I would check out Life's a Drag, 12 noon Eastern. It's in this feed. You don't have to go anywhere. Subscribe and click the bell. I'm using them to gain more audience for me. They're bound to bring on someone, right? Like out of everybody in the world, you'd think they would bring on a listener, and hopefully I can convert that listener into my own listener, maybe even a Patreon. Who knows? The people who help out WFO, Bernie Speed Shop, Josh Hart and his team. Guys, if you've got a car that you're looking to sell, they can sell it for you on consignment, or you could sell it to them so that they have inventory. reach out to Bernie's, bernies.com. Classic cars, muscle cars, exotic cars. Your kids are not going to know what to do with it. Have someone who knows what to do with it. Push it out to a market, a worldwide market. BURNYZZ.com, Bernie's Speed Shop. On board with WFO and Josh getting ready for the U.S. Nationals. Our friends at HusseyPerformance.net, Frank Hawley's. Jordan Vandergriff and Austin Prock met at Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. And they're going all around the country with their Dragster Adventure program. So if you and a group of your friends want to drive dragsters one afternoon, you can do the Dragster Adventure. FrankHawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO. And that goes for all of our sponsors, guys. Like everybody. The first thing you should say is, yeah, WFO guy, man, he's the reason I'm here. Whether it be Hussey Performance or Frank Hawley's or Marvin Rodax. Say WFO because I want him to know. I remember when Sam Tech was a big sponsor, we were working together. The Sam Tech guy told me, Brian Massengill, he's like, I had a guy say he saw it on Monday Night Football, where we don't advertise on Monday Night Football. But it's great to say WFO, like our friends at Redline Synthetic Motor Oil, Mark and his team over there. And now I notice every car that's out there with Redline on it. And it's a lot of them. Not just the little teams, but big teams, world championship caliber teams, teams that are dominating, top alcohol, funny car, winning championships, and top fuel motorcycle. It's good enough for your car. Proven by those guys. CWT Industries, Randy Nealon's balance machines. If you got an engine shop, you don't have a CWT balance machine, you're making a grave error. Spent a lot of time with Paul Lee this weekend. Paul was talking about is updating his blower program, but we were talking a little bit about torque converters and what's possible in torque converters and torque converter versus clutch. And he was telling me that the lion's share of their FTI customers are Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Pro Mod, and all those fast 8th Mile Pro Mods that run at the World Series of Pro Mod, that they've got the very powerful cars that run torque converters. And he said a lot of people, he goes, Joe, clutch has been around since the 1800s. And it's old technology. It says torque converter is modern technology. And that's why you see wherever it is adopted, it ends up winning out because it is a modern technology that gives you adjustability. It was a great conversation with Paul Lee. Point is, guys, Project Pontiac has got an FTI transmission and torque converter, and they win a lot of races. So if you're looking for something good, check out the folks at FTI. Total Seal Piston Rings. Got some great episodes of Hidden Horsepower coming up, including Brian Fleck. But Jorge Jimenez, who does Baja 1000 stuff, David Ward from High Performance Lubricants. It's all an exercise to teach you about ring seal, though, that the technology has changed and updated, and working together with Total Seal is easy and fast. TotalSeal.com. And, of course, Jesse Converters. The DPF X-Fit, that's the OE replacement for your over-the-road trucks. But they also have the G-Sport brand for high-performance vehicles. Maybe you don't want to lose any horsepower, but you want to do right by your local codes and regulations and laws, or for the environment, just on your own accord. Believe it or not, there are people who do that. Jesse Converters. And Eric Latino back. Great to see him. Matt Latino. I don't think it'll be long before you see Matt out there full time. We had ourselves a great time out there in Brainerd, Minnesota. I was on the Power Loon 107.5. Those guys welcomed me into their morning show family. I had a blast. We just had fun from top to bottom. Justin Dorfler, who is the announcer with me, a lot of people was like, is that Alan Reinhart? And Justin and Alan have a couple of vocal cues that sound very similar. And Justin, who's coming online as an announcer, worked with Alan for like 5 consecutive years. And some of those cues are the same. But Justin did a great job. And Gabe Killian and everybody that I worked with up there. But the wheelie bar, I spent a lot of time in this wheelie bar. There's a place that serves alcohol, a full beer at the track. It was great. Not that I was partaking in that while on the clock. But Jeremy Lerke, they had a 50th birthday party. Everybody went down. We all hung out in the wheelie bar. It was really good. And that brings me to Brainerd and Christy and Sarah and Nick Duty and the folks that brought me in a week early. Like, I don't want anybody to think I didn't have a great time. It was amazing. I had a great time in Brainerd. I learned about the community. I love travel. I don't want to go to Europe. I don't want to be in the plane for 15 hours. That's a problem for me. But in our great United States, I love our country. I consider myself a patriot. I'm into it. in a big way. And so seeing different parts of the country and how people are different, this patchwork quilt of the United States. And, people in California don't like Texas, and people in Texas hate California, like, evil people. But really, we're all Americans, and we have a lot of the same stuff. Little things are different, and a lot of things are the same. And, it's rivalries. Red Sox fans and Yankee fans, they hate each other, but really, they would help each other. And I think they find the best in each other when the time is right. I love being in Minnesota and getting to know the workings of the track, the facility, the history. One consistent pour of concrete, that whole thing. 3-mile road course. They do a lot of good stuff there. And they love this drag race, the people in the local community. So I had a blast, guys. Thank you. Can't promise I'll be back next year, but I had a blast. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. Let's see what everybody has to say as we get ready to get on out of here. A slightly longer version of the show than I had planned. Blake says, hello, Joe. Thank you, Blake. If I was going to ask Greg a question, I would ask him how he's improved on his reaction times. He's not going to tell us. Not going to tell us. Right? Brian Zenzen. Brian was helpful. Brian nominated our Never Rest Award winner. To all of my sportsman racer friends, I need you all to redouble your effort on letting me know about Never Rest Award contenders, good stories, because we got to have one for every race for the rest of the year. That's a different story, but I got to have one. We don't always award the Never Rest Award, and so it's not always a priority. Somebody had a flat on the way to the track. Is that exactly Never Rest? Probably not. But now, in the final 7 races, I need every story. So you can get me on social like Brian did. And he was our fire department Coffee Hero Award winner. Congratulations. Yeah, Donnie was great. Donnie Dernberger. I like the guy a lot. He's a good person, good character, good racer. What more do you want? It was wild to think of Top Fuel Firewall, then realize McBride wears his Firewall in his leathers. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, Spider-Man McBride is he's a legend. Like Paul Bunyan. He's a legend. We always appreciate you talking about the motorcycle. Thank you, BHS Performance. It's a miracle. Everybody should come by and just study the car. Jordan did a great job. Happened with no test runs. Wendland tuned good for him. Yes, he did. Loans has an idea to let spectators pick the call-out pairings. I'm open to all ideas. That's kind of interesting. I don't know how we would do that, though. Like, how do you do it? Did Shorten reactivate his license in Q1? Sean made several references that made it sound like that. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Nice to grab Famoso in the Western Swing. Can they handle it? Track's got to handle it. I don't know anything about that track other than Mike English announces there. What's up, Mike? And I don't know. People have said Spokane. People have said, I don't know the answer on that. And that's why I'm just curious to hear what's possible when the schedule comes out. Craig Altier, let's talk about Tater. My old buddy Tater is making waves in top alcohol dragster. Could we ever see Tater in a top fuel dragster? Thank you, Craig. I don't want to put that pressure on him any more than I already have. So thank you for picking up the ball and running with it. Yeah, maybe there should be a Fendt top fuel dragster with Anthony Troyer, Fendt customer with 20 of them on the Troyer family farms running in it. Now, the McPhillips family supplying the car right now, I'm sure they don't want to lose their driver. They would love for it to stay in their this partnership forever. But I don't know, man. I think Anthony Troyer would be interesting to see in a top fuel dragster. The kid has shown this is where he needs to be. So I agree, Craig. And beautiful job with Code Blue. When's that car coming out to the track? Craig Altier has got Code Blue ready to go out. Beautiful paint job. That could win maybe a best appearing. The new pinheads in Brownsburg is awesome. You should do this. I don't know, Indy. We can't do the bowl down in Indy. It's too much in Indy. Indy is a very difficult race. It's very difficult. Awesome bowling poster. Yeah. Look, Courtney Enders has said over and over again, she's a very competitive person. And when Jason Galvin suggested that she bowls with the bumpers up, it didn't go over well. I'm just saying, it didn't go over well. The competition thing just locked in. So I asked Galvin, I was like, have you ever bowled? He's like, yeah, I bowl. And so to me, it seems like a worthwhile venture. Now, do we get charities involved? How big do we make it? Do we just make it personal? I don't know. Sometimes less is more. But seeing Jason and Courtney bowl 110 frame game for all the marbles, I think is worthwhile. Walt says there's a bowling alley down the street from the Motorplex. Way to go, Walt. I don't know. I think Thursday night would be the night. We get some race fans in there, some screaming people, some racers, you know, Team Courtney, Team Jason. How big would Team Jason be? That would be tough. Spreading hate and discontent. Where have we heard that? Yeah, that's a Heinerism. There's a bowling alley. Minutes from IRP. All right. Well, mission accomplished for me. I believe in getting other people involved in the idea and conceptual phase. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Will you be doing anything to the Pontiac this week? Absolutely. I got highly motivated on the Pontiac watching Super Street run 3 races. They were the double divisional and they got to be in the national, and that would be amazing. Is there such a thing for Super Street in the South? But Project Pontiac is on the verge of being like ready. As in, I could go racing whenever I want. Thanks to the folks at Summit Racing Equipment. Oh my goodness. We could sell tickets. We would never sell tickets. We just want a mob of screaming people. Mocking people when they throw a gutter ball. Seen golf cart bowling in the pits. Great show today. Lions Lanes, Ennis, Texas, says C5 Pete. I will be investigating. Hearst invented the jaws of life. Yeah, but Amcus is the one providing us the safety equipment. So we don't want to give Hearst any love for their innovation. We want to talk about the people I use their stuff, which I'm sure is a great improvement of the original stuff. I was fighting fire. Yes, I was. Every situation is a learning experience. Yes. Randy Johnson enjoyed In the Lanes. We did In the Lanes this week, brought to you by K&N Air Filters. Thank you, K&N, for supporting In the Lanes. You even get a mention on WFO radio. How about that? Any news on Palm Beach? Yeah, I'm digging. I do not want to reveal what I've got just yet. Just as of now, it's not a dead issue. How about that? There is a spark of life. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, by the way, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Comp 503, a.k.a. Joe Aerosmith, won the week in the WFO League. Congratulations, Joe. And if I didn't get to your comment, my apologies. It's time to get up on out of here and do what this guy says. Hit the like button. Thanks to everyone who helped make the show what it was. Hit the archive, WFO.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.